So I lived in New York City on September 11th, 2001. And here is my story from September 11th, which actually starts on September 10th. And you'll see why. So I worked in real estate and I was doing rentals at the time. And I had a client who had wanted to put in a lease contract for an apartment. And it was late at night, late at night, 7 o'clock at night. And the office of the management company where I had to deliver everything was down across from the World Trade Center. And every other time that I had a deal with that management company, if it was at night, I would take all of my paperwork home with me and then go straight down in the morning and then go to my office afterwards. And for some reason, I stood up and I put all the paperwork on my chair. And my manager said, what are you doing? Aren't you going to take it home? And I was like, no, I feel I want to come into the office in the morning. And he was like, it makes no sense. Like you could just go straight down. And I was like, I don't know. I'm going to come in the office in the morning. And I left it on my chair. Went home, came to the office in the morning, and all I knew at that point was that a plane hit the World Trade Center and everybody thought it was an accident. I was trying to get, people on the phone to find out, if the management company was open and no lines were going through. At some point, my husband came bursting into my office because he knew that I was supposed to go down to the World Trade Center, and he couldn't reach me because no phones were working, and he ran 12 blocks from his office to my office hoping that I was still there. Just looking at him was like the scariest thing I've ever seen. And he's like, we're leaving. We're leaving right now. And my manager was like, don't be ridiculous. Just stay. This is crazy. And I was like, I'm leaving. And he was like, you're being ridiculous, but fine. Do whatever you got to do. And I left. And we walked to his office. And the TVs were on. And we were trying to reach my brother who lives in DC and couldn't reach them. And it was so scary. And we somehow got someone on the phone who lived near my brother, gave them the number, and he, because they were closer, and I don't know why, because I don't understand how the phones work, was able to reach him and somehow get back to us. So I knew that he was okay. There was a TV on in an office, and everything was like glass walls, and there was a TV on, and people were just staring, watching, just pure horror, like people jumping out of windows. And I was there and watching when the first tower went down. And I mean, I can't even explain like what that felt like. And we started walking, like we just left. And I think my real estate partner was with us somehow, whatever. And she walked up with her, and we started walking up 3rd Avenue. And it was just pure chaos. It was like everyone was trying to just leave the city. every car, every bus, every taxi, every bus, everything was just on Third Avenue trying to get out of the city and go uptown. And it was craziness. But people were being like ultra kind to each other, like people were in panic and trying to get taxis and they couldn't, like people already in taxis were like letting people come in, which if you have ever been to the city, like that does not happen ever. And we're still walking, and people that had come from all the way downtown were just covered in soot and dust and just covered in concrete, like pieces of, and just walking and holding each other and just sobbing. And we made it home. My sister lived downtown but wasn't there that day, and was able, because she was at work, and ended up staying with us. At some point we went back down to like get some of her stuff from the apartment, and all of downtown was just like a dirt mess, like a war zone. And afterwards, like living in the city, I woke up the next day I just thought it was a bad dream. Like I couldn't believe that it happened still. And just wanted to help. And so we went to places and we're just like giving cookies to policemen, and then like looking and seeing people were putting up signs for people that they knew and loved that were missing, and there were just pictures of people all over the city, like, have you seen this person, have you seen. It was a really, obviously for everyone, horrible, horrible experience to watch. The only silver lining was the kindness in New York City in the days and weeks that followed. You could take a bus and they would just say, just come on, don't pay, just come on, because they saw that there were just blank looks in it, like nobody was focused. And people still were like sharing taxes, just being extra gentle and careful with one another. And that's what I remember. What I think about a lot is, why did I leave that? Why did I leave all the paperwork on my chair? Like, it still, even today, makes no sense at all why I would do that. I had never done it before. It doesn't make any logical sense as to why. And I try to follow my gut all the time since then, because it saved my life. In that day, saved my life. It's a hard day for everybody, I know, and I know everyone has their own story. Please feel free to share yours on here, because I know everybody has their own story, and I'm just sending love and strength and peace to everybody. Thanks for listening.